Like, don't at me.
Don't at me. Goddamn. Don't at me. Don't at me.
All right, y'all. We got some leftovers this week. They've all been pretty sports-centric lately, including these. All right, first one, Dame Lillard. He's bringing all this. Dame Lillard's getting all this hype for being a bubble hero, bubble MVP, and he's feeling himself because he put out a single. Have y'all heard it yet?
I haven't listened to it yet.
Straight from the bubble, Dame Dollar, I'm him.
I mean, he is though.
Listen a little bit.
Oh yeah, this fire already. It's nice.
Nah, he nice.
I can't argue with Dame, man. I know that some people feel the way they do about him.
Right.
I respect Dame as just a player and as a person. He doesn't really say too much. I feel he's like the cocky that I like. If that makes sense for me, you know.
So my thing with Dame, there's a lot of things I like about Dame, right? Like he doesn't have friends, you know, like he has friends, but like he's not there to make friends. He's trying to win, right? And I'll turn this down because I'm sure it's only a minute and a half, but y'all can check it out. We can drop the link in the show notes. But you know, he's just cares to win. He busts his ass. You know, he's cold. You know, he's pulling up from the logo. You know, he plays pretty fearlessly. But, and I'm saying this, y'all can say, hey, this is coming from a Rockets fan. I'll say, yeah, you're right, 100%. Dame is feeling himself too much for somebody that has won 0 Western Conference Finals games. 0. My little ass hands are making a 0 on the video podcast. If you can't see.
Sometimes
0.
with that, like I feel, you know what I mean, that cockiness, like, you know, when you have that, when you feeling good, when you making money doing what you love, you know what I'm saying, especially like in the sport called basketball, in a sport like basketball, and you also get to like rap and like, you know, live the lifestyle that you want to live. I mean, like if you're doing whatever it is you love, you be cocky too, you know, in a way. I feel like, you know what I'm saying, like I don't even think it's like has to do with having the accolades, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know how like there's rappers that have never, like, you know what I'm saying, won Grammys or shit like that, like Flavor Flav or somebody like that, but like they still out there performing every night and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's just the love of the game. And you know what I mean? Like when you can do things like that and have other avenues like rap or movies or something like that, I mean, you be that person. I mean, Kobe was like that, Shaq's like that, you know, Charles Barkley. I mean, everybody, you know, Jordan was, you know, like it happens to you because you use that tool. I mean, LeBron's like that. You use that tool of basketball just as like, you know, the springboard, and then you're supposed to like jump out to things like that. So you're cocky and you're feeling good. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Shaq did it. You know what I'm saying? Like years ago. That's why they battled. I think we did a play it by ear or something like that.
No, that was the first episode. Don't at me. The first episode.
Really?
That was the first episode. And that's another reason why I bring it up. Because, I mean, I know we don't get into sports too much because there's millions of podcasts. We talk sports all day. So we're like, let's talk the real shit on the podcast. But the reason why I bring this up is, okay, Dame, again, cold, right? But hasn't won a championship. Hasn't even won a single game in a Western Conference Finals. Not one, right? And I mean, all this, people are going to be like, oh, he's hating. And look, I'll tell you this. He's cold at sports. He's good at rapping too. Shaq is one of the only ones I can think of that was pretty good at both. I mean, he's all-timer for basketball, obviously. But here's why I bring it up. Do you hear anybody talking shit about Dame? No. It seems like he's got universal love. And I like the guy, but I want to know why he's immune to all of this criticism, but James Harden isn't. Russell Westbrook isn't. You know, they've both been to finals. They've won at least a game in the finals. They haven't won a championship. And I'm not saying that, you know, oh, they should be treated differently than Dame. They should be treated the same, is my point. You know, so if you're going to critique them for never having any hardware, why is Dame Lillard completely immune to that? That's what I can't wrap my mind around. And also the fact that he always steals the Rockets. So, you know,
well, to take it to sports, I think it's the markets. I don't think anyone, like, you know what I'm saying, like in Portland really cares if Dame really performs as well as, like, you know, like someone like, you know, with in Oklahoma City when you know, Harden and Westbrook were there, or now here in Houston, you know what I'm saying? Like we want a ring because we've had that before, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't think Portland really gives a shit. You know what I'm saying? They're like, you know.
Well, but they love the Blazers though. But
yeah.
I want to hear why he's immune to it.
I want to hear Gary's take on it. Gary, how do you feel about everything?
Well, yeah, I was going to dive in. When it comes to Dame, I think it's pretty interesting that him and Patrick Beverly and him and Russell Westbrook always have something going on. Like two of my favorite players, you know, somebody scrappy like Pat Bev and somebody. It almost seems like the scrappy guys is who he kind of gets into it with. Even I think Chris Paul, when he was on the Rockets, they get into it too. So I'm like, why does he have beef with certain point guards too at times? But overall, yeah, Dame is nice. But I actually didn't consider that point that Mike brought up. Like, he really doesn't get much backlash for not having any hardware. I didn't even consider that.
I mean, and that's all you hear with Harden and Westbrook. Oh, you can't win with them. Oh, they can't, you know, I definitely don't want them on my team. I mean, they have more pedigree than Dame does, you know, and this is definitely an indictment on Dame. I know I'm shitting on him. I'm like in a very much vast minority here. But really, it's more so of you know, that's not fair. There's a double standard, in my opinion. Like I said, Harden, Westbrook, constantly under the microscope. People constantly criticizing their game. They're MVPs. You know, they are MVPs. They have been on first team All-NBA. Dame, I mean, hey, like I said, I love his game. I think he's good at rapping. I think it's bullshit that he bypasses all criticism.
But
I can't speak. I'll be quick. I can't speak for Russ, but as far as Harden, I know he gets criticized because of his style of play. We all know that the way he plays, the dribble, step back, shoot, then how he, foul every time he drives and stuff. So people just don't appreciate that yet. But I think that it's gonna become a day where they do start respecting the way he actually plays, going forward, hopefully. So yeah, that's all I had to say about that.
And he always says they'll respect me when I retire. Hopefully it's before then.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Gary, what were you gonna say?
Yeah. Oh, it was about likability. Chance brought up markets. I think market may have something to do with it. For some reason, there's a Houston bias in the media. For some reason, I don't know what it is. But so it's the combination of the Houston bias plus mixed in, like you mentioned, Jock, Harden's playing style, and then for somebody like Russ, is just I just don't think they're as likable as Dame. And that's probably what it just comes down to. I think people just like Dame. He has more of the it's also with the NBA Players Association. You got to remember that's probably a fraternity or a clique. So within that clique, there's probably more cliques or groups where they're like, oh, hey, I fuck with Dame. That Russ is like this. And then it kind of becomes a thing,
Good point.
When the Lakers bounce him in 5, y'all would definitely see an network of Dame.
Oh, my gosh.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Y'all
and that's
not gonna be petty like that.
And the thing is, that's the thing with me and you and Mike. With me and you, Mike, we love Dame. We love the Blazers. They just don't show up for us when we want them to. We're like, okay, beat us. It's like beat us. Exactly.
Warriors.
Beat us, but beat the Warriors. Like that's the team we mutually hate. So beat the Warriors, but then they don't. So it's like, why are you gonna ball out, do the wave goodbye against PG and against Russ, and Harden, but you can't. And then do anything after that.
Between your legs against the Warriors.
I will say that they have a healthy team this year, so maybe they'll get further. But like you said, Mike, you brought up a good point with CJ being injured, and so it is gonna affect him. And he's gonna run out of gas probably soon because he's been balling out like crazy. And plus, they've been playing extremely hard to get to the point that they're at right now, and other teams haven't been playing as hard. So once they start playing hard and turn that pressure up, who knows what's gonna happen?
We'll see. All right, I saw a tweet. Fernando Tatis, baseball player, his team was up 7 runs, and he was facing a 3-0 count. Now in baseball, they kind of say the unwritten rule is when it's 3-0, you kind of take the pitch, you don't swing. Well, he actually swung. He knocked that motherfucker out. Home run. It's a grand slam, actually. And, there's all kinds of different ripple effects from that. People are kind of talking about, oh, like, what was that? Even the manager was telling him not to swing. He swung, whatever. But opened up a conversation about the worst unwritten rules in sports. So Aaron Torres, actually from Fox Sports Radio, I think he started this tweet. And I came in and said the worst unwritten rule in sports for me is if you're, in football, one team's blowing the other team out, they're in field goal range, and they do that bullshit where they run a draw, like right into the back of the center. They're just like, okay, here, we're just surrendering the ball. They're not kicking the field goal. They're not punting from the 25-yard line. They just go for it and almost like purposely fail on 4th down. I've just like the 3-0 hitting the grand slam when you're up by so many runs, what happened with Tatis. I'm an adult. I say we're playing a sport. It's competitive. You should never lift your foot off the gas pedal. I mean, I live my life around 28-3. The Patriots come back over the Falcons. Coincidence. To me, that is the worst unwritten sports rule. Is that okay? If it's 4th, you kind of have to just like run it into the back of the center. Patriots in 2007 didn't do that. That's why everybody hated them, because they were just running up the score. But just to tweet or to read out some of the responses, Aaron Torres responded also to that tweet and said, the dumbest unwritten rule in sports is that it's okay to throw at someone if they celebrate a home run. Like, imagine if Aaron Rodgers threw a TD and celebrated, and the next series the other team got a free shot at him, because that's just not how things are done. Idiotic. Very well stated from Aaron Torres. Again, at Aaron_Torres from Fox Sports Radio. And then also at APrior94 said throwing behind / at someone because their teammate just celebrated a home run too much or did a bat flip. The other reason why I bring this up is, hey, we're all in Houston. We've been seeing the Astros catch the brute end of this shit, and all these unwritten rules all year long. So I don't know if you all have given much thought. What is the worst unwritten sports rule that there is today?
Man, you brought up some good ones. I can't really think of anything as yet. But as far as the tying in the baseball analogy into football, I thought that was pretty interesting, because imagine like your quarterback getting free range at him just because he scored a touchdown, got a touchdown pass. I think that is.
We saw this BS.
That's the correlation with baseball.
A couple weeks ago with him throwing at the Astros and trying to pick up his little nuts, Cook season. But, I don't know. I mean, it's just it's a game. It's competitive. You don't want somebody to score. Hey, don't let them score. I never liked the mercy rule in sports. I mean, they're adults. Whether it's professional women basketball or professional women's sports, professional men's sports, you're adults. You're professionals. You shouldn't get your feelings hurt because you can't stop somebody from imposing their will. You just need to hit the practice field harder, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I was going to say I agree. That's what I was, took the words out of my mouth. I hate how in the NBA, when you reach a certain level of points, it's frowned upon to keep scoring, to keep like matching the gas, and it's like, if you don't want to get scored on, just try a little harder then. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, this literally, you have to just try like a little bit harder. Like, these people are getting paid millions of dollars, That's a lot of money to just like bitch and complain, like, oh, they're not being unsportsmanlike and stuff. Like, fuck out of here,
And it brings back something that happened last year. I think it was a Nuggets game. Jamal Murray, I think he might have had 47, and they were blowing the team out.
They kept him
50. He was, trying to pull up, hit that 3 to get 50. I'm for it. Hey, if you can get it, that's awesome, man. Like, the Warriors, look, we all universally hate the Warriors or whatever, but they had the game where, Thompson dribbled 11 times and scored 60, but then they didn't let him play in the 4th. Like, all right, we're going to rest you. Why? Let him play. Let him try to go for 80. Even though I'm not a fan, that's a spectacle, man. You can't tell me. Think about how many times people bring up Kobe's 81 points. You don't see that, man. You see that's happened twice, with Wilt scoring 100 and Kobe scoring 81. Nobody's passed that mark but 2 times. If you can do it, man. unwritten rules in sports make it to where you can't chase history. You can't chase, absolute domination. And again, you're professionals. You entered the game 0-0. Nobody had any kind of a cheat or, hey, you get preferential treatment. No, you're going in, it's 0-0. You're out there as a pro. You either beat the team or you get your ass beat. And if you're getting your ass beat bad and they can beat it more, you just have to take it, man. You have to grit and bear it.
Just do better next time.
Yeah, exactly. And the equivalent to that, I guess, unwritten rule would be for the NBA is up by 5+ or beyond 2 possessions with under 20 seconds to go and you have the ball. I mean, a lot of times it's best to dribble it out. But I do like when a team, it doesn't happen often, but decides to do typically it's the benching. So just seeing them decide to go up for like a last-second layup, even though the game is almost over or the clock's winding down. I mean, I say go for it as well, but
especially if you got the bench squad in, let them ball
yeah,
out. You got a 20-point
exactly.
cushion. They're out there balling. They might never see the court again, man. Let them get it, Last thing we had on the leftovers, Gary, you brought this one up, man. A little bit of a sentimental thing. We just talked about the Astros. I mean, look, y'all know I'm a Yankees fan, but I'm Houston, so I'm always backing the Houston teams. I want all the Houston teams to win if possible. I was upset that Astros couldn't win one game in Houston in the World Series last year. But, Gary, giving you a shout-out on this one, you were saying, what kind of bullshit is it that the Nationals suck this year? After all that shit that happened last year, they choose now to fall apart.
And, I mean, going back to last year, the Nationals actually started off the season horrible. So I'm thinking maybe they did start off slow. But either way, this is the one season where you can't start off slow because it's pretty much condensed. So the fact that it's looking like unless they get their shit together, they're not even going to make it to the playoffs. Just knowing that they beat us and we had 2 opportunities to do it, and they're just nutting on themselves, it's kind of frustrating. But I like it as an Astros fan. It's like, okay, cool, yeah, they suck now. But it's like, why couldn't we just get that one extra win when we had Garrett Cole coming up on the mound? I mean, AJ Hinch decides not to even put him in, and that's the last of Garrett Cole we get. Now he goes to the Yankees. I'm like, hate it even more.
Hey. Because I remember watching that game and he said AJ Hinch is managing a perfect game here. He's not overthinking it. He's going with his instincts. He's going with his gut.
Oh my God.
Greinke gives up one hit, the home run. He gives up that one hit, and I think a single before or after that yanks him.
The floodgates.
And I'm like, dude, no. And then so literally right when Joe Buck said that, it turns around. AJ Hinch starts over managing. Look, we heard it on the radio for months, so we don't need to relive any painful memories. But shout out to Greinke, though. I do like him. Did you see a couple weeks ago he was showing his sign and still striking people out?
That was icy.
That was icy.
That was cold-blooded.
He should have been a Yankee, though. They said Greinke the Yankee. It just never happened.
Yeah.
But
I mean, y'all got Cole, so whatever.
True. But that's all the leftovers I have for the day. I hope y'all enjoyed this feature at the bottom of the screen, our phone line. Feel free to call the number up, leave voicemails, drop a line, hey, questions that you want us to answer, just any kind of love, any kind of reviews. Call this number here or even text it, whatever you want to do. Just ping the number that you see at the bottom of the screen, and of course we'll shout out any kind of good, thoughtful quotes. If y'all have good sound bits, we'll include them on the next podcast. But take advantage of this new feature here. Open up the conversation. With that, any other leftovers that y'all had?
Nope. I'm good.
I think the last one is just make sure you check out www.therep.network. Merchandise, we've got Pierre style. We got a chance for Texas. We got all the official repertoire merch. Check us out on social media, Twitter and Instagram at the Rep Network, Facebook at Repertoire TPN, as in the podcast network. And then, as always, subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Chance, you got the lingo down the 4. I asked you right as you take a bite, my bad. You going to try to do it through the bite? Hey, let's do it, man. Unfiltered and raw.
Like, comment, share, and subscribe.
Like, comment, share, subscribe.
I guess.
Get it down. Get the reps down. Help us grow. Thanks again, as always, for tuning in to Don't At Me, part of the Repertoire Network. Tune in next week, and we'll see y'all then. Peace.